We are back with the final budget hearing today with MNPS. We are grateful to have Dr. Sean Joseph with us, and he's brought some other folks, which I will let him introduce. And I also see several members of the school board with us. I would like to just give a shout out to Amy Frog, Will Pinkston, Mary Pierce, Anna Shepard, of course, Jill Spearing, the chair. We also have Chris Henson, and we are also joined by council member John Cooper behind us. So I'm just going to start off. We're going to have a great 2-hour conversation here. Does it need to take 2 hours? I'm just checking. We've got 2 hours allocated. With many of the budget requests that we've had over the last several weeks, I've prefaced every conversation with we have a larger request than we have revenue. So with that in mind, I know that we will absolutely prioritize and do the best we absolutely can. Education is a key focus for our entire community. It's such a hugely important thing. It is 40+% of this budget. And Dr. Joseph, I just want to say it has been a delight to have you. I cannot believe it's already been close to a year that we did this process. Your leadership, your passion, your energy for our students shines through, and it was a pleasure to be with you at the State of MNPS speech the other day, and the strategic plan. Very excited about everything you're doing. So I look forward to hearing our conversation today, and I'm going to let you kick it off, and then we'll just ask you questions as we go.
Well, thank you so much. I'm actually going to turn it over to Jill Spearing, who has done a wonderful job of leading our effort in pulling our budget together. And then when she gives opening comments, I'll speak, and then we'll turn it over to Mr. Henson.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Joseph. Good morning, Mayor, Mr. Rivlin, and Talia. I'm so glad to be here with you today, along with my colleagues. We have Anna Shepard, our board chair, Mary Pierce, our vice chair for the Budget Committee, Will Pinkston, and Amy Frog. Since the 9-member Nashville School Board hired Dr. Sean Joseph in May of 2016, we have worked diligently as a team to articulate comprehensive vision and mission statements for Metro Nashville Public Schools. And we have laid out a set of values that we believe captures the reality and the potential of the 42nd largest school district in America. I'll let Dr. Joseph and Mr. Henson speak to the details of our request, but as chair of the school's budget committee, I just want to open the conversation with a few brief remarks about how we've approached this work by grounding it in our values. Dr. Joseph often says our budget should reflect our values. Today, we are proud to present a proposed budget for the 2017-18 fiscal year that reflects the values of this school district, this metropolitan government, and the broader community. As much as anything, Mayor, we value equity. Specifically, and I quote, "We believe in equitable access and opportunities for all students from early childhood through graduation. In multiple categories, this budget speaks to this fundamental value. Another value is talent. We believe in supporting, developing, respecting, compensating, and retaining our teachers, leaders, and staff. We believe the pay raises contemplated for teachers and staff will help in our ongoing efforts to recruit and retain the very best teachers from in the city, across the region, and around the country. We value relevance. We believe students learn best when they're inspired by real-world challenges that promote critical thinking, inquiry, problem-solving, and creativity. This value cuts across our plan, including Dr. Joseph's strategies to elevate and amplify the work in our middle schools. Finally, I want to speak directly to a value that's close to my heart as a reading teacher, which is literacy. Last year, when the school board interviewed Dr. Joseph, he made a statement that led me and the other 8 members of the board to believe that he was the right person at the right time. He said, and I quote, "If we focus on culture with a lens on literacy, every student will succeed." On Dr. Joseph's first day on the job, he made a presentation at the downtown library to parents, teachers, community partners, affirming his commitment to literacy. Our collective belief is articulated clearly in our literacy statement. We believe what research says. Early reading success is a critical factor in a child's likelihood of graduating from high school and experiencing future life success. National research indicates that students who do not read proficiently by 3rd grade are 4 times more likely to drop out of school than proficient readers. And when you add poverty to the mix, research shows that those students reading below grade level are 13 times more likely or less likely to finish high school. As you know, Mayor, in Nashville, 74% of our students are impoverished. And technically, we have 3,000 homeless students. So this critical national research, combined with our difficult local statistics, tell us that we must prioritize literacy. All of our other initiatives fall by the wayside if we don't build a strong base of literacy in each of our students. We're pleased to report that we're headed in the right direction. This year, all 73 of our elementary schools are working with the Literacy Partnership with Lipscomb University. Through the partnership, classroom teachers receive year-long outstanding professional development. The work we started a few years ago and that you funded in your first budget is ongoing and will continue to expand under Dr. Joseph's leadership in the upcoming year. The highly effective intervention of reading recovery is now offered in 32 elementary schools with 63 teachers, and it will be expanded with additional funding in this year's budget request. When we disaggregated the data, we discovered that impoverished students suffer significant reading loss during the summer. So this budget includes a request for summer school opportunities for students so that they can hold on to the knowledge that they've captured. Preliminary data from formative assessments indicate these kinds of strategies are working. They've put us on the right track. Other tools are being utilized to confirm our progress. But you know, Mayor, and we know that much work remains. We are committed to literacy and to our other values as a means to fulfill our ultimate vision, which is Metro Nashville schools will be the fastest improving urban school district in America, and every student will be a lifelong learner prepared for college, career, and life. Mayor Berry, this proposed budget reflects lots of other opportunities, including your emphasis on job opportunities and economic opportunities for students before and after graduation. We appreciate your commitment to our shared vision in this regard. We understand, of course, that schools don't receive a blank check, and that there are many competing demands on the finite resources of government, especially at a time when many of us are facing potential dire cuts and federal funding from Washington. We just want you to know that whatever the number, we will work with you and use our available resources wisely. This board sees you as our education mayor. We thank you for your support, your friendship, your time, and your commitment every day that you give our students. Now let me hand this over to Dr. Joseph, our very best director of schools in America.
No pressure.
Chair, Chair, that was amazing. Your passion is palpable, and I love it. Thank you. Dr. Joseph.
I also want to thank you, Mayor, and Rich and Talia, for your historic funding of the school system. Again, we know in Davidson County, I mean, education has been a priority, and you've shown that historically with your commitment. As you said, 40% of this budget, of your budget, goes to education and educating our children, and we don't take that lightly. Now, this year, we've embarked upon a new chapter to our district story with a new director and a new direction from the Board of Education. I mean, the board has been, extremely active in how do we get this right for the children that we serve, and how do we make sure that achievement is put first, and we move forward collectively as one unit moving forward. And so we're extremely excited about the possibilities of our future and the work that we have within our district. Just some quick facts for those watching who might not really know the makeup of our school system. I mean, we have over 11,000 employees within the Metro Nashville Public Schools with 168 schools, 35,624 elementary students, 24,624 middle school students, and about 22,000 high school students. And we are a district that has lots of great things happening currently and historically, and it's always good to highlight some of those things. We have, as you know, we're about the 42nd largest school district in America, and we have an 81% graduation rate. That's still below the state average and below the national average, but when you look at large urban school districts, we're among some of the strongest graduation rates, and that's something to celebrate. We're a district of choice. Now, we have great programs within our school system from the elementary, middle, and high school, and we're an open zone district, so parents have options to identify schools that meet their children's needs, and that's something many districts don't have. It's just, many districts around the country are kind of one-stop shop. You got this high school and that's all you get. Here, if parents have the means to get students there are opportunities available for them. We have the state's first virtual school, and we don't celebrate that enough, and that school services thousands of children, not only here in the Metro Nashville Public Schools, but across the state. Our academies of Nashville for a decade have been the model of the nation in terms of getting business partners together focused in our school system and working with our schools. We have over 600 business partners that are actively engaged in all of our schools. Our students are able to be offered dual enrollment opportunities with some local colleges, so they can graduate high school with college credit, as well as we have advanced placement, international baccalaureate, and Cambridge programs in all of our comprehensive high schools. As a district, we have placed a strong emphasis on STEM historically. So we have elementary, middle, and high school STEM programs, and what an opportunity to engage our students in a field that can improve our economy and change children's lives. And the opportunity to have that throughout the district is something I think our community should be extremely proud of. And in a time when districts across the country are cutting arts programs, our arts programs and music programs are vibrant throughout this district. And every child that goes through a Metro Nashville Public Schools will have strong music and arts programs. And lastly, we have this starting with the selection process looking for a new director. I mean, this board has engaged the community and has had a commitment this year of engaging the community all the way through the process, not only from the hiring of a new director, but as we started thinking about a strategic plan for the school district. We have met with thousands of families, and we've gotten lots of input as we think about how do we move forward as a district. In terms of some of the challenges that we have as a school district that we must acknowledge, approximately 49% of our students live below or at the national poverty level, and about 74% of our students receive a free reduced meals, which is another indicator of poverty within our school district. 16% of our students speak another language other than English at home, and we have more than 120 languages within our school district. 16,000 of our students are identified with students who have a disability or a chronic illness that impacts their learning. And we get about 1,000 English language learners a year coming into our district. And I share these statistics simply to point out that educating children in Davidson County requires us to really target resources to ensure that all students receive a world-class education. Because that's our goal. Every student that comes, the board and I believe that children should be advantaged by a public school system. It's not about a minimum requirement. It's about what do we do to fundamentally transform children's lives when they come into our district? What are the opportunities that we can give them so they really can be productive citizens here in Davidson County. So we don't take any excuses, and we believe all students can achieve high standards. And that's why we spent the bulk of this year developing a new strategic plan and a strategic direction, because we believe that our plan can turn our challenges into opportunities. I mean, over the course of these past 11 months, we have engaged over 2,400 community members. We went to all 12 high schools and had listen and learn sessions. I've had the opportunity to make over 170 school visits. Thus far, some schools I've visited multiple times, but we'll get to all schools by the end of the school year. We had a transition team that had local, state, and national experts identifying over 100 different recommendations on how we could accelerate our district in the areas of student achievement, school choice, how we're communicating internally and externally, and how do we ensure that we have the best talent in America here within our school district. And the board recently approved a new vision, a mission statement, core values, performance measures, and we've identified high-level strategies to address our performance, particularly, and we centered it around how do we work with our people, our community, our organization, and most importantly, our students. And I gave you a copy of that new, the draft strategic plan, and I'd ask that if you could turn to page 20 in it really briefly, because I just want to walk you and the public through some of the great work that this Board of Education has been engaged upon as we think about how we move forward as a district. Because again, we started this process. We didn't come in with a pre-packaged plan of here's what we're going to do to fix schools. We really went out and listened deeply, and based upon what we heard, we developed a plan that this budget request is directly aligned to. So as we look at our students, which was the first area, we had 4 strategies that we will be focusing on as we look through the next 3 years. 1, delivering a high-quality pre-K through K-12 instructional program and increasing the relevance and rigor of that pre-K through 12th grade curriculum. Providing equitable access across Metro Nashville Public schools and clusters to a high-quality, well-rounded pre-K through 12 education, establishing a positive school culture and climate, and responding to pre-K through 12th grade students' physical, social, and emotional needs, and expanding and strengthening the quality of our educational programs available to pre-K students. And if you look at our performance measures, we recognize that we must show results in key areas, and it's very important for the community to know that there are measures that the board will be monitoring as we move towards, because as we add dollars, the question becomes, how do we make sure those dollars are impacting something, and what are they impacting? So the work that the board and I are working on right now is making sure we not only establish metrics, but establish targets and have those out for the public to constantly monitor and hold us accountable for improved results. So when we look at some of the performance measures to achieve the goals that I just talked about, they include increased percentage of students demonstrating greater than average growth in all subject areas. And we focus on growth because the fact is, because we don't have pre-K programs in every school that are high quality like we would want, we have lots of students that come to us behind the 8 ball before they start. And we have to work to accelerate them. And that's why that goal specifically says accelerating average growth, because it acknowledges when students are behind, the average growth isn't good enough. We have to accelerate it, and we need an accelerant to do so. Also, we talk about making sure students meet or exceed proficiency levels, because it's not just about growth. We expect students to actually hit targets to show that they are being proficient. We have a performance measure to reduce gaps in achievement and growth between and amongst students, because as Mrs. Spearing identified, with our students in poverty, our students with disabilities, our students who speak a second language, their performance is significantly different than our middle-class students and our white and Asian students within our district.
And let me stop you for a second. I know that
Sure.
that we're going to walk through a lot of this stuff, and maybe it's better if I just ask you questions as we go. So,
Yeah.
with the proposal, with the focus on performance measurements and the outcomes, talk to me a little bit about the fact that we're adding a significant amount of new revenue to this budget, but we're only seeing minor tweaks in reduction in other programs. So, how do I know that these are going to work versus the stuff that we've been doing that we're not actually stopping, but may not be actually leading to some good outcomes?
So we have made significant internal shifts.
Shifts don't seem to be reflected in the budget.
Yeah, so those shifts reflect, they're in the budget. I think the challenge is we've had such a challenge with capacity and infrastructure. A lot of the shifts that we've made have been to strengthen some of the infrastructure to execute. Any organization that has greater vision than capacity is destined to fail. And one of the things we have looked at is what is the capacity that we need to execute on priorities. So for example, over the years, we have dramatically increased the amount of technology that we utilize within the system, but we have not increased the amount of technical support. So at the beginning of the year last year, one of the first hurdles we had to overcome were bus issues. A lot of those bus issues dealt with a new technology system, and we didn't have enough capacity to execute. So as we analyzed our work, we've been looking at where do we reshift and repurpose, particularly in the areas of positions, because 80% of our budget is people. So internally, though it's not reflected in our numbers, we've taken internal positions that we're shifting. So to be budget neutral, but it's strengthening capacity.
So let's talk about some of those budgets. I know that you're proposing to cut 8 staff members who are currently members of our model early learning centers. That's reflected in the budget. So what are those positions currently focused on? How is that going to help the quality outcomes for kids?
Yeah, so one of the things that we recognized as we looked at the budget too was a lot of those positions were grant funded, and we have to make sure that when those grants are gone, we can sustain. A lot of those positions you were talking about were just focused on the pre-K, but they could be going pre-K through second grade. So we've made some shifts in those positions and requirements so they could expand their work instead of just focusing on being in the early learning center, because it wasn't a sustainable model as we saw it. So we're working to shift to build capacity and ultimately sustain once the grant is gone. So you'll see in our second and third year budgets, I think we have about $2.5 million that we've included there to ensure that we can sustain it once the grant leaves. So we're taking precautions early to begin, so we don't come to 3 years down the road, the grant's gone, and we say, oh shoot, what do we do? How do we do it? So the intent in moving those 8 positions were to expand their work, not just focusing on pre-K, but pre-K through second grade as a continuum, and working with more schools as we went through.
Okay, and let's talk about grants for a second, because I think that is always a continuing opportunity where if you've got a grant opportunity, you go out, you get it, it funds something for 3 years, you like it, you want to build it into the budget, you hope you go out and actually can find some additional grant funding.
Yes.
One of the things that you were proposing this year is to expand and pay for all of the testing that comes with our certificates, the APs, courses. I think that's often been covered by private funds in the past and grants. So did those funding streams go away? Are we just less aggressive about finding that grant funding? Is the private money dried up? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, and Chris might be able to help me on that one. So our thought there was right now, there's not an expectation that every student who is in an industry certification or every student who's in an advanced placement course take the test. I think it's been optional. We've had some funding, some private funding there, but we want to make sure that it's equitable and all students are expected to do it. And one of the things that the Student Achievement Committee on my transition team found was that one of the very first recommendations or notes was that, are we expecting enough? of our children. And when things are optional, they're not always equitable. And so we want to make sure every child that walks into one of those AP classes knows that MNPS expects you to take the test. And there'll be no excuse. Don't worry about if you have money or you don't have money. We'll cover that. And I do think that that is something we could go out and ideally get the business community to support. Because in speaking with Ralph Schultz and members from the Chamber of Commerce, they're with us on the
Well, and
fact
part of that academy model that we are lauded for, I think the example would be the St. Thomas
Yes.
example, where they're working hard to make sure that those kids are getting those certificates with the health program.
Yes.
So maybe there's an opportunity. Just looking
Yes.
for ways to help you find other dollars.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to take a break for 1 second and recognize a couple of the elected officials who have walked in and joined us. We have school member Thais Hunter is with us. Thais, it's great to see you. We also have council member Vercher is with us. Council member Rosenberg is with us. Council member Johnson is with us. I think I've got everybody who's walked in over the last course of the minutes. Go, continue.
Oh, no problem. Yeah. So it's an issue of we want to expect more. So ensuring that students will take the test is a good thing.
Okay.
And making sure that those funds are there. But ideally, I think that is something, though, we could go after private dollars for. And as Mr. Henson talks to you about the specifics of our budget, you'll see that we have a section there for efficiencies that we plan on going out for. One being philanthropic dollars, in addition to grant dollars,
Okay.
looking at as we re-envision our schools and look at the capacity of schools and school buildings. One of the recommendations that we've gotten years ago from the report card, we plan on enacting that, and we already have that set up to begin looking at that, and we think there'll be significant savings there as well. So
I'm sorry, be more specific when you talk about what part of the report card.
Sure. So one of the recommendations they had was having us look at our school capacities and whether
You mean actual infrastructure
Yeah.
and the physical plant?
Yeah, so we might have a school with 150 students in it. So the question becomes, are there opportunities to consolidate programming to have more robust programs as we go through? That's a conversation we'll engage the community with as we go through this year. I think we're going to start that. The kickoff might be next week, but we're going to be identifying people from my school choice committee, as long as other local leaders, board members, central office staff, to really just look at our capacity within schools and are there opportunities to find savings, as well as looking at our class sizes as we go through. I mean, so we're going to have to do a bunch of more in-depth analysis. So we think this year will be the biggest budget ask. We won't come back to you with another large
Famous
ask
last
year.
words.
You got me on camera saying it.
I've had others on camera too. So,
Chris is notably quiet. That's all I want to say.
so
Smiling.
Right.
smiling. Okay.
So we'll find those efficiencies because we know we have to be sustainable, and we're very conscious about that. But we also talked about increasing the percentage of students meeting college and career-ready benchmarks in high school. And right now, I think we have about 11% of our students hitting that target, and that is a K-12. That's a K-12 outcome. We recognize you don't improve an ACT overnight. You improve it by strengthening what's happening in your elementary and middle schools. So by the time they get to high school, they're more prepared to do so.
Well, and one of the requests that you've got in the budget is a $1.2 million additional for some additional assessments.
Yes.
And of course, that always has a lot of conversation that goes around it. Let's take a minute and talk about that. Is that going to replace some existing assessments? And when I say assessments, I think we
Yes.
all mean testing. Is that going to be on top of current testing programs? Are they new? How is this going to be received when we have more testing?
Yeah, so those dollars are for building the capacity. We want to make sure teachers have the tools that they need to be able to identify where a student is and monitor ongoing. We established a committee this year to look at assessments. I think their report is going to be coming within the next few weeks to reduce a number of the existing testing that we have. So as we've replaced the new testing, I think the only new testing that we're recommending is NWEA, which is the MAP-R, MAP-M assessment. We started with the MAP-R this January, which is a reading assessment to let parents and staff know where kids are in their reading performance aligned to our current standards. We will bring in the math component of that assessment, so parents will also know how their students are performing with math. And then we have monies in for a data warehouse system so teachers can have a one-stop shop to kind of click and easily see where their kids are on multiple assessments to be able to better plan for their instruction. But by bringing in these assessments, we'll be able to take away a lot of the other assessments because the MAP-R can replace the assessments that we're using for screening for gifted and talented, for example.
So Mr. Henson, could we make that budget neutral since we're taking some away?
When we identify those that we are taking away,
Okay.
we can, yes.
Okay, great.
So we also want to continue to increase our graduation cohort rate among students and increase the percentage of exceptional education students reaching proficiency in reading and mathematics. I mean, that is an area that we know there's major work that needs to be done with our special education students, our English language learners, and our students who, parents don't have a lot of money. We've got to really target those individuals. We also want to increase the percentage of students taking advanced placement courses, international Cambridge courses, honors, and international baccalaureate courses. And we're doing that by our emphasis on middle school. Kids don't just get to high school ready for that type of rigor. We've got to start that pathway early. And so this budget includes an opportunity for us to do that. And then looking at perceptional data, reducing suspensions and behavioral issues, and keeping students in MNPS is a goal for us because, as you saw, between the elementary and middle school, there's about 10,000 students less in our middle schools versus our elementary schools. And we think we have to strengthen our middle school work and communicate the great things that are happening to keep those families in our district. So as you look on page 22 and 23, you see in each one of those areas, we have a number of strategies that we plan on implementing to be able to execute. And on page 24, we talk about our people. And again, we have clear performance measures there about increasing staff morale, satisfaction, and engagement, increasing the number of high-quality certified, non-certificated teachers as measured by achieving a level 4 or 5 on their team evaluations, which is the state evaluation, improving the percentage of non-certificated employees who have the highest levels of performance, the 2 highest levels of performance on their evaluation, increasing diversity and quality for all of our staff, because we recognize as a district our workforce does not represent the diversity of our school district, increasing the percentage of high-quality diverse staff that we actually keep.
And so talk about that, because clearly there's a big ask in here for raises and increases.
Yes.
And so is there a strategy that you believe from a retention perspective? I think, I'm not sure if I know the exact statistics, but we lose a lot of our high-performing teachers quite early in the process. Do we know why? Is it because of money? Is it because of, what is the connection, and what do we need to be doing?
So we have, Deborah Story has pulled together a committee that includes teachers, principals, and central office staff to go deep and evaluate that. I mean, we can make some assumptions, but we wanted to get more specific. I mean, anecdotal evidence would suggest that some of our challenges have been our compensation. It's been the leadership at the school level, from the principal, right? Sometimes people aren't happy with who they're working with, so they choose to leave. It has to do with the fact that we don't do enough to provide professional development. We get people in the buildings, but the level of direct professional development has not been strong for the great challenges that teachers face. So there's a level of frustration that is high. But it's not just teachers. I mean, we have had challenges with bus drivers. We've had challenges with substitutes. We've had challenges with keeping strong paraeducators. We've had challenges with keeping some of our our secretaries who also manage the business, the budgets within buildings. And a lot of it is they can find better jobs, more higher-paying jobs with the skill set that they have when they're good. And then that's one of the reasons we felt adamant that we need a universal salary increase in this year, because our teachers and employees have not had raises in multiple years.
Well, and one of those, I think, is a step increase that you proposed. Will that include then salary increases for the folks who are at the very top of their pay scale?
No, if you're at the top of the pay scale and you don't have any more steps, you would not get the step. It would only be for those people that were eligible. But the 3% would be for all staff. Yeah. So again, going into the organization and then going into the final component, which was our community. I just wanted to communicate that for the public, if they go to www.mmps.org, they can pull our strategic framework and see that this board has been adamant about being clear that we have performance measures that will monitor and will set targets to make sure that we're working towards our goals. So that way, when we come for future board meetings, when we come to future budget meetings, we can be clear about here were the dollars that were invested, and here were the outcomes that we got from those dollars to be much more effective. And Mr. Henson is going to be leading an effort as we go into this budget season to really look at how we do our budgeting, so it's more, we can be more explicit about our return on investments and the things that we are asking for as we move towards the future. I mean, this is a first-year rebuild. Over time, it'll become much clearer as we move forward.
And Dr. Joseph, some of these performance measures with our community, for example, I think one of them says increase community satisfaction. Do we have baseline data now so that we know what the overall community satisfaction is, so that you would know actually how to measure if you're increasing?
Yes. So we, as you'll see, as a part of our budget request, we want to engage with Gallup, who does perceptional research probably better than anyone else in the country, and we'll establish those baselines this year as we move towards that to be able to track our progress.
Okay.
But we've
I have
yes.
a question on that. So
Yes.
can you tie, I had this down as well, any of your specific improvements to specific metrics that have been identified?
Say that once again.
In terms of the improvement requests for the $59 million,
Yeah.
can you tie any of those to the specific metrics that are in here, and which ones you think will move the needle on a particular line item?
Absolutely.
Because that is a best practice
Yeah.
to be able to tie that.
Absolutely. So as you look at the high level, each one of the performance measures is identified to one of the high level strategies that are on the page that precedes it. And I could walk you through or make some more explicit alignment. We can do that as a follow-up if that would help you.
Okay, it would. Thank
So
you.
we could see, yes, how we do that. But we've organized our budget request to align to our strategic plan, because we really do feel that investing in education is the best stimulus package a city could invest in. And we've organized our request into 5 strategic areas that we know we'll focus upon in the next 3 years, and we've kind of prioritized it as, raising the bar for all students, creating opportunities after high school, serving diverse needs of students, investing in excellent people, and reinventing our middle schools. So I'll start again with the investing in excellent people. We have approximately $29.8 million of this request to address employee compensation with the 3% living increase and the step increase for eligible employees. And it's also for the cost of our charter school growth enrollment. But as we have listened to people, I mean, I've heard stories in speaking with SEIU, the bus drivers, and the MNEA of many of our employees having a difficult time being able to live in Davidson County because of cost. And I think that's one of the challenges that we have had. We've like I said, heard of people working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, working and still feeling that they're on the brink of not being able to make it. And that's why that request for the raises are there. And we have a commitment to our charter schools as they grow, that we make sure they have the funds to continue. But
So I think you've got, as you said, segmented into these different buckets. So investing in excellence in people. So that 26.9 million, which is the most significant part of all of these proportionally. Clearly, if you look at raising the bar for all students, that's a 5.5 million request. Creating opportunities after high school, that's a 1.9 million request. Serving our students is a $12 million request. And then reinvesting in middle schools is a $6 million request. So clearly the 26 or $27 million. So you've got a pay increase in here. You mentioned that this is also somehow connected to the charter school growth. Is that reflected in the 27
Yes.
million? And so explain
Yeah,
to
and
me.
I would imagine, and again, I think for the viewing public to understand, so that $28 million request is for 11,000 employees. We as a board, we have to bring our raises into our budget request. Unlike other metro government agencies. So it may look high on the one hand, but when you factor in that it's for 11,000 employees and it's a request, it's just the scaling of it that makes it much larger than what a typical agency would bring forth.
What did you all provide employees in the current budget year in terms of raises?
We provided a step increase,
Only.
no across-the-board salary increase, but we did make modifications to the teacher salary schedule. We had done some research looking at peer cities, peer school districts to compare our teacher salary schedule to others. And what we found was at the mid-career levels, we were losing a lot of our teachers.
That's what I
and
remember.
because at that point in the teacher salary schedule, we were falling behind. We found that our starting salary was fairly competitive and our salary on the top end was fairly competitive, but in the middle, the mid-career years, in the middle part of this teacher salary schedule, we were falling behind, so we did add some dollars to the
That's what I
teacher
was
salary
remembering.
schedule this past budget for the current year.
And did that help?
So
Have we-
far, it's
have we
helped
seen
with
a
our retention,
correlation?
and that's an ongoing process.
Yeah, so last year we hired over 1,000. We had over 1,000 teacher vacancies. So this year we anticipate just a little over 500. So we've reduced the amount of teachers that are needed, but 500 is still a lot as we go forth. But again, as I've shared, we've had shortages in bus drivers and substitutes, and we did increase the substitute pay recently, and we did increase the bus driver pay last year prior to my arrival. But our paraeducators have been challenged in other key positions within the district. And look, once we actually execute on these targets, now that we have a strategic plan and we have performance goals, the level of expectation is going to dramatically increase, and we're going to be pushing much harder than we have pushed in the past. So we want to make sure that we're investing in the training that's needed for staff to be successful as we're pushing harder and compensating appropriately. The other $29.8 million that we have in this budget proposal is to accelerate now the academic achievement to aggressively chase these performance measures and high-level strategies that the board has prioritized for the organization. And, we believe that there is an economic argument or an economic impact here to funding this request. I mean, as we look at raising the bar, this budget heavily invests on raising academic performance through increased literacy instruction, teacher tools to better target literacy instruction, and assess literacy instruction, and training for teachers to implement a literacy program. The National Institute for Literacy and the National Center for Adult Literacy and the U.S. Census Bureau has some startling facts that we just can't ignore here in Nashville. Namely, it talks about the fact that 3 out of 4 people who are on welfare can't read. 20% of Americans read below the level needed to earn a livable wage. 50% of the unemployment between ages of 16 and 21 can't read well enough to be considered functionally literate. Between 46 and 51% of American adults have an income well below the poverty level because of their inability to read. And illiteracy costs the American taxpayers about $20 billion a year, and school dropout costs the nation about $240 billion, and social services expenditures. And according to the Department of Justice, the link between academic failure and delinquency, violence and crime, is welded to reading failure. Now, the stats back this up, that 85% of all juveniles who interface with the juvenile court system are functionally illiterate, with over 70% of inmates in American prisons not being able to read above the 4th grade level. And we bring that together because as we think about, crime here in Nashville, and we see teen crime increasing, we constantly think that a lot of it directly relates to the literacy performance.
So let's talk about literacy, because I think that we see that in the budget. You've proposed hiring an additional 11 reading recovery teachers this year. And but I know in the past, Dr. Joseph, I've heard you say that the research shows that students who experience these reading recovery teachers show their gains, but then those gains are not maintained once they leave that intervention because of what you've called a first instruction problem. So how does this address that first instruction problem? What are we doing to actually help that, and where is that reflected in this budget?
So in this plan, we're taking a bifurcated approach because the fact is we've got lots of children who are below reading level right now. So we can't forget them. So even though we have to focus on first instruction, we have to support those students who are behind because those cumulative deficits build over time. So our strategy is to make sure, ideally, that each school has a literacy expert, and those teachers that are trained in reading recovery are probably some of the most trained, highly skilled literacy folks you can find. And our goal is to have those individuals in our buildings, being able to not only work directly with students, but to be able to provide that literacy leadership in conjunction with the literacy coaches that would be within the building. So, the goal would be, ideally, to at least have a reading recovery teacher in all of our buildings over time, to have that capacity and expertise within the building to really help us look at our response to intervention blocks. We have a time in each school period where we have students with an opportunity to be retaught and reassessed, but we need experts there. The variance between school to school is significant in what people are doing, and we need to have experts in the building who can provide that support. And we think those reading recovery teachers have the expertise to be able to do that.
So then you've got the reading recovery teachers. Does this also then help our middle school and high school students? As you just said, there's a accumulation of time over here that they haven't had the benefits. So what are we also doing for those students?
Yeah. So for middle school and high school, we do have to look at our interventions. One of the proposals in our realignment is actually to have someone who's fully responsible for thinking about intervention within the district, K-12, and really helping us to identify best practices and programming to support what's happening at that middle school and high school level. The middle school work that we're talking about with STEAM, we'll get to that because it's changing. I mean, a lot of the work that we're talking about is changing the pedagogical approach, but really looking deeply at the intervention work, as well as in the high schools. But we have to assess whether we have the right programs within our schools, because right now we've had an autonomous environment where schools have made decisions on what programs and things they're buying and the degree, and a lot of that is based upon their budgets. Maybe not, is this the best researched program to be utilizing? So we're going to provide more direct support and to schools with that work, as we have a literacy specialist in every building who can assess what's happening in the schools.
And I think, as a parent of a child, if I'm watching, I'm saying there's a $59 million request, and I have a child who's in middle school who can't read. How is that $59 million that's going to get allocated this year actually going to connect back to my child?
Yeah. So the answer to that would be, because we are centralizing some of the functions, like having the making sure each school has a literacy coach. If you're at the middle school, focusing on that STEAM work that I'll talk to in a moment, we will be able to target those students much more effectively than we have done before. You know, the fact that we will have someone in the district who's looking at the response to intervention, so they're looking at interventions across the district in schools, we'll be able to target what the needs are in schools much more efficiently with an expert being able to do that to make sure we can provide those resources within the buildings. But it will be, you know, it's very complex, and we're being very thoughtful and methodical about how we approach it.
Okay.
But you know, as we look at going into the middle school, as we look at the STEAM work, in addition to our literacy, we're requesting a focus on STEAM at the middle school level. You know, over the past few years, Nashville has been growing about 36,000 new jobs a year, with a third of them being in the STEM realm. Another third of those jobs are in the creative realm, and our STEAM initiative in the middle school will give us the opportunity to retain more students in the middle school level while preparing students to be prepared for our Nashville economy. And as a part of the proposed budget, each one of our middle schools would earn a STEM accreditation, because we don't just want to put a title on a school. We actually want to make sure that there's some substance there. So having an external evaluator to say that this is a high-quality program would be a good thing for us. And they'll ensure that there's a high caliber, and we can provide extensive training to teachers to elevate the level of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics instruction that's integrated within our schools.
So do we need to hire more teachers for that, or is this actually a reallocation?
So we're not hiring more teachers. The only FTE that would need to be hired would be a part-time technology specialist. I think we have in the budget 9 for next year, because they'd be half-time individuals working between 2 schools, because as we bring more technology into schools, we need someone to show people how to use it, and who can actually work directly with the students to help students understand how to best utilize that technology, and just managing the technology that's within the buildings. So we would move, this proposal would move the technology in those 18 middle schools to a 1-to-2 ratio in terms of, you know, actual laptops to students. As we moved, right now we're at about a 1-to-3 ratio. So we didn't.
What's best practice?
Yeah, best practice is 1-to-3, 1-to-3, 1-to-2. Yeah, 1-to-1 isn't ideally needed, is what we've found. It's getting kids to work collaboratively in groups, utilizing the technology, is the approach that most experts recommend. You know, as we're moving forward, you know, we've got to make sure that the technology in buildings is updated, and that's one of the challenges. I mean, we've been speaking with our team about making sure we have a strong refresh program, and one of the things
Tell me what a refresh program
Sure.
is.
Refresh program is every 5 years, you swap out the technology, because technology gets outdated pretty quickly. So, you know, having a leasing program to swap out technology, bring in new technology. And we need to communicate as a vision for technology within our schools. I mean, what should all schools have at a minimum?
So right now, we're just talking about the actual capital investment for the technology that we need to refresh every 1 to 5 years, or 5 years. And then
5 years, yeah.
you're asking for part-time technology experts to be located in the school that will actually know how to run the technology.
Yes. So they'd work between 2 schools.
All the middle schools.
Yes.
Right.
So next year, we just do the first 18, and then we'd phase in the following year for the other schools. But our goal is, you know, I think Nashville has a prime opportunity to be a district with universal coding. You know, we want to.
I've heard that before.
we want to start at the middle school level, but if we get it right, I mean, our program, what we're designing right now would be within the next 3 years, we'd want all of our middle school students to graduate 8th grade with the ability to earn the Microsoft Suite certification.
So how does that? How does what we're doing here with the half the time of a technology person in the schools make that happen? Is this an instructor or somebody who is managing the IT programs? Not sure.
So they
I'm
do a
following.
combination of managing the technology within the building and supporting teachers and students on how to utilize the technology.
Okay, but they're not the actual coding teachers. That'd be something else.
Yeah, so the actual coding teachers, we have been working with actually one of our charter schools, Republic. They have been interested, and they would actually give us the coding curricula for free. We'd work to train.
I would hope so.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good thing. But we've worked with them to train our folks to have a pathway. But we'd also be working with Microsoft to ensure that we had the sequence so students could actually get the Microsoft certification by the end of 8th grade. And again, so that's learning how to use Word and PowerPoint and Excel and the other Microsoft suite. So they'll walk into those high schools, equipped to utilize those skills. And
But that's not coding. I want to make sure I'm following.
right. No, that's not coding.
Because I can use Microsoft Word, and I know I'm not coding.
Yeah, no. We'd
Okay.
have actually coding curricula.
Okay, so that's different.
Along with that, it's just in a sequence from 6th to 8th grade to be able to do that effectively. But I mean, our goal is to make sure. One of the things when we speak to the Chamber of Commerce, one of the things that they're concerned about is that we don't have enough students graduating with the rigorous IT certifications because they've not been prepared to do so. So this is our plan to really strengthen that. So as we look 4 to 5 years down the road, we're back mapping to make sure we have a sequence so kids can graduate with being able to take AP coding by 12th grade and pass whatever certifications that would be required.
So we recently had a PIP where it was very specific about technology, and it was at one of our local high schools. And I think the challenge was that an inability to actually find and keep a teacher in the classroom.
Yep.
So how does this help that?
Well, we've been speaking closely with the chamber on that very issue.
Is it a money issue?
I think it's a combination of finding people with the expertise who are willing to teach because they can make much more money in the industry itself. And I think we've got to think of creative ways to address those issues. And it's not just in IT. I mean, finding a good chef in the culinary realm. Whenever you're looking at the CTE work, we've got to have a new strategy. And we've been speaking with Deborah Story and Human Resources on, we just need a new strategy to get those technical folks in our schools. And there are best practices from around the country that people are employing to do that. And, it can be a little costly. Sometimes you hire somebody, you hire a teacher of record, and then you hire someone on a contract to come do the technical work, and they co-teach. So the teacher of record is the one who puts in the grades, but you have the expertise of the IT person, and they're just there on a contract versus being the teacher of record. That's one approach to address those types of shortages that we have to look down as we move towards the future. But as we go into looking at the opportunities after high school, our high schools have the opportunity to, our high schools students, all of our high schools have the opportunity for students to pursue advanced learning, but those opportunities are inequitable, as we talked about in the beginning. And this budget allows us to ensure all schools have rigorous courses that we would provide funds to expect students to take the industry certifications and those AP tests. Again, a big part of our budget is the serving diverse needs of students, and that's one of the biggest investments we're recommended related to addressing the needs of our diverse learners. As we previously mentioned, we're growing about 1,000 English language learner students a year, and ELL makes up 16% of our student body. So we had $5 million dedicated to adding new ELL teachers, after-school supports, summer supports, and interpreters in the budget. We believe our 81% graduation rate can be increased, which will decrease the drain that non-graduates have on our city. I mean, you think about it, if we're at 81% graduation, I mean, you have maybe a couple thousand children a year who are in the city that aren't prepared to take on a high-level job, and we've got to do something about that. But we believe if we provide adequate social, emotional learning support to our students, we can address those issues. This budget calls for more counselors and psychologists, increasing the nursing ratios in our schools, and offering more support to students that deal with significant behaviors issues. It also gives schools with higher levels of poverty more money because we've changed the weight of a student in poverty to give those schools more dollars in our student-based budget.
But let's talk about the diverse needs of students. I think the one that is probably the most dramatic that jumps out at me is the 58,336 instructional days lost due to the fact that we have kids who are out of school suspension.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about equity. We've talked a lot about the appropriate discipline and the inequity of discipline. Clearly, that's been a focus over the last several years. Yep. So how does this budget impact that? How do I make sure that we're not expelling kindergartners?
Yeah. So this budget will allow us to bring in more capacity, specifically for our what is it called? The restorative practices work. So it expands that by adding a couple of individuals within the clusters who go in and provide more direct support to schools and staffs as we're doing this work. Also bringing in the counselors and psychologists. We have over 1,000 students who have been diagnosed with some extreme mental health issues and supports, and those are the students that get into school, and without those supports, it's difficult to keep them in school. And so by having in our psychologists, because our psychologist ratios are out of line with what is recommended nationally, they're spending a lot of time testing, not being able to provide the other supports to students. And we have in this budget work to train staff, just diversity training and equity training, because a lot of times we're suspending kids because we just don't know how to deal with them. We don't know their backgrounds. We don't know how to best connect and reach them where they are, and so.
So this only, based on what I'm seeing, it only adds 2 social workers and 2 social work coordinators. So it's only 4 staff for 86,000 kids.
So we have existing staff that has been reprioritized, and we're moving to a cluster model where we have, one community superintendent that oversees, 3 high schools, the middle schools, and the elementaries. And we can reallocate resources to ensure that each cluster has a team, a behavioral support team, under Dr. Tony Majors. So this accounts for us, again, doing some reprioritizing of existing.
I like reprioritizing and reallocation. Those
Yes.
are good words.
Yeah, of existing positions. So we only needed to add 3 or 4 more to feel like we'd have a complement to be able to support a cluster.
Have you seen a reduction this year in the equity of out-of-school suspensions? I mean, I know that's been a focus for the school board, making sure that. Have we seen some movement on that this year?
We have continued to reduce suspensions. I can
Okay.
get you the specific data between last year and this year. But in speaking with Dr. Majors, he said that there has been a reduction.
Okay.
One of the challenges is we've changed our data system. So gathering our data has not been as clean as we would have hoped. And that's why we have additional, I think we have recommended 10 additional positions in IT. Was one of the proposed recommendations here, because again, we've moved to some pretty significant new technology, and the capacity to maintain that technology has been a huge challenge.
Is that a different allocation than the IT jobs that we just talked about a second
Yes.
ago? Okay.
This will be directly within the IT office, and Mr. Henson can walk us through that when he gets there.
Okay.
But again, you as a city, you have historically done right by the district, and I know you'll continue to do so. And I know this budget request is large, but it's large because we have listened deeply and we've developed a plan. I mean, I challenge you to look anywhere in the state of Tennessee for a plan that is more comprehensive or aggressive and really speaks to the needs that the community has emerged. I mean, I think what makes this a special opportunity in Nashville is, again, this wasn't a plan that the board and I just looked at each other and said, here's what we need. We listened, and based upon what people said, we said, well, if this is what you want us to fix, and if this is what you want us to go after aggressively, here's how we do it. And there's a cost to it, doing it over time. But you know, we were asked by the board to develop a plan that would accelerate student learning rapidly, and we believe this plan, if funded, implemented, and monitored, will do so. If we don't receive the funding, we'll still target priorities. We would move at a slower rate, but we would still, you know, have clear results that we would get and move forward with. And we're pretty confident about that. You know, but we know that our students deserve the best, and we want to deliver that for them. So we thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today and present our plan, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Henson, who can walk you through more specifics of our budget.
Perfect. And Dr. Joseph and school board members, thank you. I know that this has been a true labor of love for our students and the folks who are part of our Metro Public Schools, and it shows. It shows how much you would love to have these accelerated outcomes, and I share that with you. I hope that when we have an opportunity to talk with Chris, that we can also walk through what this looks like in different permutations, so that we know what the Plan B might be if $59 million is not the amount that we can fund.
Yes.
But I want to make sure that I know where you all feel are the most valuable places to put the dollars that you will have. And we can talk about that. And again, I just also wanted to say to Budget Chair Spearing, thank you for asking me to come and watch the Reading Recovery recently. What a powerful tool. I'm pretty amazed by the fact that when we look at our kids, the ability to get them to read and to have them graduate, being able to read is you know, a baseline.
Thank you for making the time.
Absolutely. Mr. Henson,
Thank
would you like to walk us through? Do my
Never
colleagues?
has Chris had to wait an hour and 5 minutes. I can see him just getting anxious over
and-
the course of the last.
Patience is a virtue.
And Talia and Rich, did you have any questions for Dr. Joseph before we move on, or are we ready?
I think we're ready.
We're ready to go.
We're ready. We're ready for Mr. Henson.
Well, thank you, Mayor Berry. We appreciate it. In addition to the draft strategic framework that you have in front of you, you also have a couple of other documents, and I think you're already familiar with them, but I'll point them out anyway. You have one document that looks like this, and I'll just, for the viewing audience to know what's here, I'll just read the titles of these. The first page would be just an overview of our operating budget request. We have a page on our student-based budgeting, which has been very successful. We are entering into our third year of full implementation of all of our schools under student-based budgeting. And then we have what we're calling our fact sheets. These would be our 5 areas of importance that Dr. Joseph has already discussed. Raising the bar for all students, which is a 2-page document. Creating opportunities for after high school is also a 2-page document. There's a little bit on the back. Serving the diverse needs of students, there's some information on the back of it as well. Investing in excellent people, and then reinventing our middle schools. And so these fact sheets are intended to provide a lot of detail as it relates to the requests that we are making in the proposed programmatic areas. And so these documents are going to provide a lot of narrative and a lot of additional detail that may not necessarily be reflected in actual budget documents. And so if you'll turn to the other document that has the bound, it's the actual budget documents themselves. You can see at the bottom right, there's a page number, and I'll reference some of those page numbers, but I'll spend most of the time talking about this first page, page 1, which is intended to reflect a summary of changes as it relates to the request that's being made. The top part of this document reflects the changes in employee compensation. We've already discussed that the request is for a salary step increase for all of the employees that qualify for one, as well as a 3% across the board pay raise for all staff, all of our employees. That would be for all salary schedules that we have. We also have some changes as it relates to insurance and pension. As you probably know, all of our certificated employees are required to be members of the state retirement plan, Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System. There is a slight increase next year. And then all of our certificated employees, their health insurance, all of their insurance is handled by the Employee Insurance Trust. We are a self-insured plan. The insurance trust is made up of 3 school board members, 3 teacher representatives, a retired teacher representative, and an administration representative. And we have an increase of a little over 5% reflected here as far as insurance goes. And then, as you also probably know, all of our non-certificated employees are members of the Metro pension plan and the Metro insurance plan as administered by the Metro Employee Benefit Board. And so you can see what we're using for support pension and support insurance. We also every year take into consideration the fact that, as Dr. Joseph said, we have over 11,000 employees, and we're going to have some vacancy and we're going to have some turnover throughout the year, which means that a lot of times when we have vacancy, we are replacing someone with a lower paid employee. They come in with less experience. We also know that we're not going to be fully employed or fully staffed throughout the year. We're going to have some times where an employee would leave a position and it takes a little bit of time to fill that position. And so we account for that here with about a $9 million offset to the employee compensation. And so we have a net increase in the request for compensation, taking into consideration that vacancy turnover of approximately $16 million.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Henson? Sure. So with the certificated insurance on both of these, with the, I think one looks like it's at a 5% increase, one's a 5.1% increase, that's our cost. Will there also be cost to the employee?
There will be. All of our employees, both certificated and non-certificated, the employer, the school district, pays 75% of the premium. The employee picks up the remaining 25%, and that's the same as it is for Metro government employees.
So with the increase on one side, there will also be an increase on the other side.
There will be. There will
You know
be.
what the increase is, just curious,
Yeah.
for the certificated insurance?
As far as the dollar amount?
Yeah, like how much?
Or just for the employee?
How much the employee's cost is going up?
I've got that in here somewhere. I could be glad to pull that
Yeah, just-
for you.
I can tell you that mine's going up $50 a month.
Okay. So, and I,
We obviously we cover retirees.
right,
as well.
exactly. So anyway, that'd be interesting to know.
Sure, we'll be glad to get that to you.
Thanks.
Sure.
Just one out of curiosity, just to kind of, just so I can compare with our general employees, on the salary step increase, do you know what percentage or how many of your employees are eligible for the step increase?
I have that, and it's different for certificated and non-certificated, and I'd be glad to get that to you.
Just curious, I'd like to compare that with ours, just to kind of see how it looks.
Sure, I'd be glad to get that to you. And on average, the step increase is approximately 2%. It varies based upon the different the different cells within the salary schedules themselves, but on average, a salary step increase equates to about a 2% increase. In the middle part of the page, we have inflationary increases and other required expenditures. The majority of this would be made up of estimated additional internal service fee costs, the property tax refund through MDHA, the injury on duty costs, a lot of those that come to us from Metro government, Metro finances, they're calculated once the different departmental budgets are approved. And then we reflect here our transfer, increased costs for our transfers to our charter schools. We have one new charter school opening this year, the new KIPP Elementary School that is planning to open next year with 200 students. And then we have a number of existing charter schools that have already been approved that have in their plan, their growth plan, where they add a grade each year. And so we have a number of charter schools adding an additional grade, which increases total enrollment. So you can see the reflected increase in charter enrollment is just under 2,000 as it relates to charter enrollment, which is where basically the district enrollment increases are occurring now, is in the charter sector. Then we also look at the existing MNPS run schools and what the enrollment projections are. and we are actually looking at a decrease of around 1,000, a little over 1,000 students in MNPS-run schools, student enrollment, and through our student-based budgeting process, of course, that means less dollars flow out to MNPS-run schools on average, realizing that we do have a number of schools that continue to grow, some at a very fast rate, particularly in the southern and southeastern part of the county. But overall, when we look at the entire district, the MNPS-run school enrollment is reflecting a decrease of a little over 1,000 students, and so we reflect that here as well. So we've got total additions between the employee compensation section, the inflationary section, charter school, and MNPS-run school enrollment of just under $30 million, $29.7 million. Then at the bottom part of the page, we have those 5 buckets, those 5 areas. Do you have a question?
Yeah, let's,
questions on that
yeah.
before we-
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that, just a couple questions, because the showing, so that, how many, so charter school number will be approximately what this year?
If you'll turn over to, I've got a separate document on page 8. We will have 29 charter schools, district-run charter schools, reflecting an enrollment of 11,600 approximately. State law requires that the district transfer the total state and local revenue per pupil amount to our charter schools, which we are estimating at $9,600 for next year. So that total transfer will be $111.5 million for next year. On this document, we also have an asterisk over in the far right column for all of our charter schools that will be adding a grade next year that would account for a lot of that growth. So we plan on 29 charter schools next year with enrollment of just over 11,600.
And have their estimates on the number of students usually panned out? Is that?
It's pretty close because it's in their charter agreement,
Right.
and so they usually come pretty close to what they plan to do because they're growing a grade a year, so usually the students that are with them will stay with them and go up to the next grade as they continue to add a grade.
So it's, I'm sorry, ma'am.
And is there an opportunity for us, if they don't have their estimated students, do we actually recoup those dollars? If, let's just say, one of them had estimated at 640 but only had a 500 employee student enrollment, do we get that, capture that 140 children back dollars to the district?
We do. We only transfer dollars based upon actual enrollment, and so
Okay.
these are estimates, and so we transfer dollars to charters based upon their actual enrollment. So if they don't meet their projections, then the dollars would not be transferred to them and would be held at the district
Sort
level.
of to your fund balance is what it really does. It's kind of,
Correct.
you just don't use the money. And so, yeah, so it's 11,600 in charters, and that would what, leave 70,000 roughly in the.
A little more than that.
A little more than
77,000.
That's right, because you're 88, not 81. Did my math wrong. Okay.
You've got several numbers flowing through here, and I want to make sure in terms of per pupil cost.
Sure.
Over here on the charter schools, I see 9,600. I just want you to explain the differences to me. And then I hear a little over $10,000 just regular per pupil cost for the district. Then I see school budgeting at $4,400. Then on this page, I see a $6,500 number that's being used for the decrease of students. Can you just explain to me the relationship between those four different numbers?
Sure, be glad to. Be happy to. The $9,600 represents, as I mentioned earlier, our estimate of total state and local funding per pupil for next year. That'd be total state, and that'd be basically the school district's entire operating budget per pupil.
Okay.
The 4425 that you mentioned that's on the student-based budgeting page, that is the base funding amount for a regular student at a school through the student-based budgeting formula. Then we also add weights to that amount based upon individual student need. And so you can see that there's a grade level weight because our elementary schools require a smaller class size requirement, so we add 10%, which would be $442 to that $44.25 for all of our elementary students. We have a 5% weight for our middle school students because they also have a smaller class size than our high school students. Then we have another weight that's added to that 4425, which is a 10% weight based upon prior academic performance. So all of the students that are in a school that are below proficient in reading and or math, there is a 10% weight that's added for those students. Then we also have a 21% weight if it's an English learner student. And so in addition to the other weights, if it's an English learner student, there's a 21% weight that's added. And then there's a 5% weight for poverty, if a student is in poverty, added to the per pupil amount. And then there is a myriad of weights based upon special education disability status that would be added to that. So that 4425 is strictly the base per student amount.
So what's the highest that you're seeing in this budget in terms of
With all those.
Yeah, with all those adjustments?
I don't have that off the top of my head, but it can vary significantly based upon high poverty, high EL schools. We've got that listed by.
Would it double, triple?
It will double. Yeah, there will be
It could
those that will
double?
double. We've got that list per school if you're interested in seeing what that looks like.
Yeah, and I know that we've had these conversations in the past about state dollars that come to offset, especially our ELL population. Is that reflected in this?
Well, this is reflecting what we're funding through our student-based budgeting process. The state dollars flow through the state's funding formula, the basic education program, which also has an equalization factor in it based upon ability to fund education from local sources. And so the state dollars that we receive for EL students would be lower than what we're actually spending because there's a local match requirement as it relates to what's included in the state funding formula.
Okay, so what's the 6,500 number?
The 65
What's the difference there?
Sure. The 6,500 would be the amount that flows through to schools through the student-based budgeting process on average for the students that attend charter schools. What we do is we look at students that attend charter schools, where would their school of zone be? What's the average per pupil amount flowing through the student-based budgeting formula for those individual schools? And that's approximately $6,500. The difference between the $6,500 and the $9,600 that flows to charters would be all of the centralized costs that don't flow through the student-based budgeting formula. Perfect examples would be utilities, maintenance, transportation, a number of the centralized costs that don't flow directly to schools through the student-based budgeting formula. They are handled at the district level on behalf of schools. And so the 6,500 would not take into consideration any of those expenditures that are not included in the student-based budgeting formula.
Okay, so I'm going to give you an opportunity to clarify this for the listening audience.
Sure.
Because when you hear that number and then you hear that the average per pupil cost is about $10,000, then it looks like about 50% of the cost is for overhead, just to somebody that looks at this in terms of just the numbers. So I want to give you an opportunity to explain to the listening audience what that means, because we do that over here on the central government side of things, and people don't always understand that. And I think it's important that the audience understand those numbers.
Sure. When you say 10,000, are you referring to the 9,600?
Yes.
Okay, just want to be sure we're on the same page. And then when you say half of that, are you referring to the 6,500?
I am referring to this base in terms of talking points. So when I see your student-based budgeting and you say $4,400 per student,
which is the baseline.
Which is the baseline, and someone that doesn't understand the weighting that comes on top of that, nor that the centralized costs are added to that, it would sound like, to somebody that doesn't understand the methodology, that there's a lot of overhead. And I want to give you an opportunity to talk about that so the audience understands it.
Sure, and as I said, the 4425 would not be the per pupil amount. That's why we use 6,500 as the average over here. Also not included in that 6,500 would be a lot of costs that directly impact schools and students, like the utility costs at the schools, the transportation cost of getting students to and from school, the maintenance cost of maintaining those buildings. There are a lot of centralized costs that don't flow through the student-based budgeting formula that are at the district level, but they are on behalf of of our schools and of our students in our schools. So that's a good point.
Yes.
thank you for asking for that
It
clarification.
would include most of the central administrative staff, right?
It would include all of
part
it.
of that, would be all
Yes.
that,
They
so
would
all
include
your
all of it.
HR, accounting,
HR, IT, yeah.
management, yeah, okay.
But the
Yes.
largest ones by far are utilities, transportation, and maintenance.
Yes.
And now I want to go back and ask about the 1,000 students that we lost last year. And so did we lose them out of our traditional public school and did they transfer into the charter school system, or did we lose them out of the district for good? And if so, are we tracking why they left? Do we know where they went? What's the data there?
And this is not last year, this is projecting for next year.
Okay,
And so the
sorry.
projection for next year would be a loss of a little over 1,000 students. A lot of those are going to our charter schools. We also have, of course, in Davidson County, we have a number of students that go to private schools, particularly after they leave our elementary schools, as was indicated earlier. And so we have, it's a myriad. Some move to surrounding counties. And some go to private schools, some go to charter schools. But a lot of what we're seeing is just basically a transition from MNPS-run schools into our charter sector. And the charter sector is where our enrollment growth is projected and has been for the last year or so and projected into the future.
And is that because the board has been good and deliberate about making sure that with capacity issues, locating those charter schools in places where there is a growing population so as to help with the capacity? I mean, I know that was a lot of the conversation over the past several years.
Right. We do have a number of our charter operators, when they made their application, part of that application was to locate in a high-growth area to help the school district deal with overcrowding issues and student enrollment growth. So that has been a part of it, yes.
So it's a net, little under 1,000 increase in students here, which is a little lower than it's been the last few years, isn't it? And it
Sounds like
Yeah, and what we've seen based upon the research that our Student Assignment Office has done, and they work very closely with the Metro Planning Department, through the Great Recession, we saw fewer births, fewer live births, and so we're seeing some of that, now in our enrollment numbers. We're not seeing necessarily the growth that we previously saw in some of our grades, but the projection based upon the live birth data is that enrollment will pick back up in future years.
Now you go to the next
Now
one.
you can go, exactly, back to proposed change.
Sure. Proposed changes, again, these are the 5 areas that we've already spent some time on today. Raising the bar for all students. Again, we have fact sheets on each of these. Creating opportunities for after high school, serving the diverse needs of students, investing in excellent people, reinventing our middle schools. All of those, you've got a fact sheet that gives more detail as it relates to those particular areas. We just tried to combine them here on this document to come to a total for proposed changes of $29.6 million. And then, as you know, the request is for a budget of $902.8 million, which is approximately a $59.5 million increase, which reflects a 7.1% increase. So this document, as I said, I would spend more time on because it's intended to be a summary of everything else that's included behind it. So any questions that I or we can possibly answer on this one?
Question on this. On all the proposed changes, I think I understand them all. They're all laid out pretty well in the fact sheet, I thought. The only one I have a question about is the investing in excellent people. The $3.8 million, is that, I'm not sure what that is. I know I can't pick up, maybe it's my inability to pick it out of this. It's kind of lumped in with all the pay increases.
Yeah,
Is it?
It is. That one was a little more difficult because you've got the pay increases at the top,
Right.
the employee compensation, and then these would be the items that would not be necessarily the employee pay raises or benefit increases that would relate directly to employee compensation. And they are on the fact sheet, investing in excellent people.
So some of those are, so it's everything but the pay increases.
We've got the leadership development,
Got it, okay. I've seen that.
employee engagement survey, support staff tuition reimbursement, the compensation study, and the expansion of human resources capacity.
And can we talk, I know one of those is a $1.8 million request to upgrade the bookkeeping positions, but I also noticed that all of those folks who currently have those positions would be required to reapply for those positions. So tell me why.
Sure. These positions are, they're long-time positions that have existed previously, historically called secretary bookkeeper positions. The position has evolved over time to have more responsibility. We have a lot more money flowing through our schools, particularly as we have transitioned to student-based budgeting. These positions also have timekeeping and payroll responsibilities. And so our Human Resources Department decided it was time to look at that position and to update the requirements, update the responsibilities based upon what's currently being required for those positions, and at the same time increase the pay grade, because as Dr. Joseph indicated, we've had some difficult time keeping really good qualified individuals in those very important roles at our schools. Again, they are dealing with a lot of money. They're dealing with people's pay through their timekeeping responsibilities. And so our Human Resources Department, as well as our Finance Department, re-looked at and updated the job description, the position description for those positions. Quite frankly, some of the individuals, not many, but some of them, the principals were concerned didn't possess the skills that were necessary for those positions. Some of our schools had a number of audit findings as it related to their school activity funds, and so we felt like it was important that all of the individuals that occupy those positions were qualified to have those positions, had the skills necessary, but also compensate them for the responsibilities that they now have.
Is there an opportunity, just thinking about long-term Metro employees who have worked for us for a long time, is there an opportunity for them to get additional training so that if they don't currently have the skill base, that they could gain that skill base?
Yeah, we've provided training throughout the year, throughout the years, and what we're doing is making it a priority. If for some reason there are those that through the process, either the principal doesn't recommend to come back or they don't necessarily possess the skills, we want to find them a position in MNPS if they want to continue working with the district, because we do value the long-term relationship that we've had with them. That will be a priority for the district.
Are these SEIU employees?
These are support employees that could be represented by SEIU, yes.
How many are there? Yeah, what's the?
Well, there's one for each school, and so there's
136 or
if you don't count the
63?
if you don't count the charter schools, it's the 130 plus. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually meeting with the president of SEIU this week to talk more about the logistics, because if there are people who didn't pass the test and there are concerns, we are making it a priority to look for other jobs that they would qualify for, within the district. But we have that commitment to work with our employees.
Okay. Okay.
And so I'll just walk you briefly. I'm not planning to walk you through every page here, but just briefly so you know the documents that are here. Page 2, we include this every year. This reflects the proposed position changes in the budget, both positions being reduced as well as positions added, which is also reflected on page 1 on the summary. We have page 3, which reflects the work calendars for our 10-month support employees, so you can see what those work calendars are. They reflect 16 paid time off days for vacation and holidays. In addition to that, they are paid for days to work when students aren't in session for orientation, training, administrative duties, etc. And so you have their total number of paid days for each of those types of 10-month support employee work calendars. And then on page 4, we have...
Don't go too
Okay.
fast. So on the second page where you've got the positions that are reduced, we've just talked a minute ago about the secretaries and the bookkeepers. I see that there's a reduction there. But the biggest reduction in staff are the maintenance of facilities, maintenance staff. So talk to me about that, because that's 10 positions.
Sure. These are unfilled positions that where we have been, we've seen that it's more cost efficient to contract some of the responsibilities, particularly as it relates to HVAC, where it's been difficult for us to hire qualified technicians. Sometimes as it relates to our preventative maintenance program, it's proven more cost efficient to do that. That also was a part of the recommendations in our performance audit we had several years ago, was to initiate a preventative maintenance program and to look at contracting out some of those responsibilities if it made sense. And so that's what that's reflecting, but all of these at this point are unfilled.
So all of these are unfilled positions. Nobody is.
They were budgeted this past year, and then through this fiscal year, as we've had some attrition, we've decided that it made more sense to contract out some of that preventative maintenance so that we can have that done and not necessarily have to have full-time employees to do that.
Okay. And then just kind of scanning through the positions that you are requesting, I noticed there's a request for a PIO. Don't you guys already have a PIO? Public Information Officer?
So we have a position called, I think, Director of External Relations that was unfilled. We just hired a new chief of communications to replace. So the PIO, we get thousands of public information requests, and
So this is more about having somebody who can respond to the information requests?
yes, combination of information requests and also be an interface to the media and so forth as they come. But a big part of that job would be those PIO requests because we.
And the news editor, what's that?
Sure. So we need someone to be able to tell the good stories of what's happening within the district, really looking at.
You mean the press over here isn't doing that for you?
They do a great job.
That was the right answer. That was literally the right answer.
But we'd like to be able to tell our stories. We have a vision for having a website that really pushes out the news from the from schools and allowing schools an opportunity to tell their stories, and really we want to dramatically increase our social media presence and getting the good word out on what's happening.
Do you want to ask it?
But yeah, I think just from a big publicity, PR, and communication standpoint, when you ask for a large increase, I think a significant, nearly 50 positions are central office sort of focused. And I think it's important to explain why that's necessary in this year, just because of the overall, there's always the perception that central office is too big and there's too many people, and now the request is 50 additional, or almost 50 additional. So I think that needs to be sort of spelled out kind of separately and addressed.
Yeah, especially because that's half of what you're requesting.
Yeah. So when you look at the Council of Great City Schools gives they look at the 50 largest urban school districts in the country, and when you look at what we spend per capita on central office, we're woefully below the average. I think we're at 6.8% of our budget, I believe. 0.6. Thank you. Yeah, 0.6% of our budget is central office. Typically, it ranges around 1 to 1.2%. We have had infrastructure challenges. Some of the services that people have. Like the best example I could give from last year was, our buses at the beginning of the year. The big challenge we had was we just didn't have the capacity and infrastructure to do the work that was needed to execute on making sure the bus routes were in place and things, because we have, particularly in our IT department, where we've requested 10 positions. As we have increased technology throughout the district, we've not increased the capacity to support, and that's why we fall short with that. So a lot of these positions, most of these positions come directly for those in the public that would like to look at our transition report. The transition report identified key shortcomings in our capacity that this budget is working to address. Again, when you have an organization with 11,000 employees, 168 schools, and central offices, you need a pretty decent level of support to execute on a lot of the initiatives that you have. Because again, if you have vision without capacity, you're doomed to fail. So, as we looked at these positions, we looked at positions that would help us move fast on the recommendations that came from the transition report and our strategic plan.
Sorry, I went too fast on that. Anything else on page 2? Any other questions about the position?
Well, no, but I'll just tell you the stuff that excites me, since we'll be probably wanting to take notes on that. The stuff that excites me is the technology component, where you've got some allocation of resources there, the reading recovery and the literacy component, the ELL component, and then also all of the stuff around the social emotional, the support for the kids to help them not transition out in a way that they're being expelled. So that's the stuff. When I look at this, I hope that we can find some efficiencies in central office, that when we're putting our dollars and our resources into staffing, that it's in those areas that are going to have a direct impact on kids.
Yes.
And then, as I mentioned on page 3, the 10-month support employee work calendars, I think they're fairly self-explained, but happy to answer any questions that you may have in relation to, we just want to show and reflect. Obviously, these positions are very heavily driven by the number of student days, but they also have additional paid days for time when students aren't in session for important things like orientation, training, etc. Page 4. Page 4 shows the breakdown of account number 2328, which is reflected in our detailed line item budget, but these would be our 4 early learning centers. The Early Learning Center at Ross, the Avenetta Davis Early Learning Center, Casa Azafran, and then the new Cambridge Early Learning Center, which opened this year. You can see that the Cambridge Early Learning Center is completely funded by the federal pre-K expansion grant. And so we've got, again, this is reflecting only our operating budget, and so you can just see the breakdown as it relates to each of those different early learning centers, which is reflected again in account number 2328. Likewise, on page 5, we have 2 alternative learning centers.
Can I go back to the pre-K
Sure.
piece? I know one of the things that we heard through the PIP process was the ability to match these seats with kids. So we had a gap last year where we had seats that sat open. And I'm not exactly sure what that number was, but it wasn't small. What is our plan this year to make sure that the seats that we have actually allocated are filled so that our kids get that pre-K start?
I'm not sure I can answer that.
Okay.
I do know that our Student Assignment Services Office was involved in that PIP.
Yep.
And so we're working closely, of course, with your office and others to make sure that doesn't happen, because obviously we want every one of these seats to be filled and to be filled from the beginning of the school year. But I don't know the details.
Yeah, not just these. There was some MAC stuff too.
So it wasn't just the...
Not just you
wasn't
guys.
your
I think part of
facilities.
that's the opportunity to be more coordinated with a coordinated entry system to fill every pre-K seat that's not just MMPS seats. So.
Right. Happy to follow up and
Okay.
provide you with some additional information.
Laura's here. She'll talk to you.
On page 5, we have 2 alternative learning centers. These are centers where students are suspended and or expelled from their regular school, the Johnson ALC and the Bass ALC. We break these down. We have a specific account number 2600 for our alternative learning centers. But we always try to show, when we can, what the breakdown is by location.
Is this some of where the dollars for the social and emotional learning would be, so that these kids would be getting that? Is that reflected in the school counselor, coaches, and specialists, just making sure?
Some of it would be reflected here, and some of it would also be reflected over in our student support services budget under Dr. Majors.
Okay.
Is there any kind of trend on the enrollment in these schools? Is it pretty stable, or is it going up, or, you know?
It varies throughout the year. Students come in and out of these schools
Right.
based upon the disciplinary infractions that occur. Some of them are here for a full year if it's severe enough. Some of them come for a certain number of days, and so it's fluid and fluctuates during the year. So we try to show what the estimated average enrollment would be, knowing that it's going to be higher than this and or lower than this during the year. Page 6 shows a detail of account number 2650, which would be for all of our non-traditional schools that we have, that you probably are familiar with some of them. Our middle college program, which is over at Nashville State. You can see what the estimated enrollment there would be. Our Big Picture School, which is over at, drawing a blank, it's over off White Bridge Road.
Right, it's old.
I'll come back to it. The 3 academies that we have, Old Cockrell, Hickory Hollow, and Opry Mills. Our virtual school that Dr. Joseph mentioned, and then our transitions program. This is the program where students that have previously been incarcerated, they go into the transitions program, transition school for a while before they come back into their regular zone school. And then the Cone School, which is a program at Cone, the Cone location, for our overaged and undercredited students to try to catch them up before it's too late so that they can graduate on time. But again, we try to break these out individually so that you can have an idea of the non-traditional programs that we have. And again, reflected in account 2650 would be over in the far right column, the total FTEs and the total dollar amount. On page 7, when the board approved the student assignment, the new student assignment plan, or student rezoning plan back in 2008, there were expressed additional resources that were allocated to specific schools, and so part of that student assignment plan required us to account for these funds separately, to have a separate document, separate schedule that would show the additional resources going to these specific schools. You can see there are 6 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and then Pearl Cone High School that receive additional resources over and above what they would normally receive through the regular budgeting process for things like school counselors, lower class sizes, additional professional development days during the summer, that sort of thing, as well as additional transportation for students that take advantage of what we call our zone choice option. So if students wanted to go to their zoned school, they could, but if they wanted to go to a school in another cluster, particularly in the Hillwood cluster, they could do that as well, and we would provide them with yellow school bus transportation for them to do that. So these are additional resources that have been provided to these schools over time. That was a part of the student assignment plan approved by the board back in 2008, implemented in 2009.
What's the cost on the transportation component right now?
There's there's a column there, transportation, where we have a little over $1 million for the operational cost of the drivers, and then about $300,000 for the fuel. So approximately $1.3 million is being budgeted for students that attend schools in these particular schools that want to take advantage of the zone choice option and attend a school out of zone, again, specifically in the Hillwood cluster as opposed to the Pearl Cone cluster.
Have you all looked at any kind of different kinds of ride-sharing options for these kids that don't require a yellow school bus?
We have, and this is what we have currently. We're happy to look. I know we've had conversations and discussions with MTA over time about some potentials, but right now that was a part of the agreement, was that we would provide yellow school bus transportation and not just provide free MTA passes for that. Even though all of the high school students, the Pearl Cone High School students, would receive the Stride, would be a part of the Stride program.
Right.
But we still offer the option of yellow school bus transportation from home to the school in the Hillwood cluster that they want to attend.
And with the potential of moving the Hillwood High School, what might that do from an impact of cost or anything?
We don't foresee that really affecting cost because they would still pick up students at their home, and they would just go to a different location where the new Hillwood High School would be located, and we would still have that zone choice option for those students if they wanted to go to Hillwood High School, regardless of where Hillwood High School might be located.
Okay.
And then we looked
Just
at...
because I see Councilmember Rosenberg and Amy Frog back there, I just thought I'd mention it.
We were going to get to that.
Yeah, when we get to the capital stuff, we're going to talk about that.
We've looked at page 8. I'll just mention again, 29 charter schools are projected for next year. We also have some schools that are in the state's Achievement School District. The funding for these schools is handled differently. The funding does not flow through the school district and then transferred to the charter school. The funding for the Achievement School District schools flows directly from the Tennessee Department of Education to the Achievement School District, and it comes off the top of our state BEP funding, and so they basically have what's called a reserve for the ASD, reserve for the Achievement School District, that comes off the top of the school district's state BEP funding allocation, going directly to the Achievement School District.
And how much longer are those considered ASD schools? Is there a transition plan? Is there?
I know that's something that's been discussed at the state level. I don't think we've had necessarily any indication from the Tennessee Department of Education of when that might end or when those schools might come back to the district. We do have a new ASD school this coming year, which is Rocket Ship 3. And so previously we had only had 2 schools in the Achievement School District. Rocket Ship 3 will now be our 3rd, and this coming year will be the 1st year for that school.
Is that a new school?
It is a new school, yes. The Department of Education.
Oh, right. This is the one that they approved outside of the process. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Existing.
Right. Yeah, got it. Never mind. Okay. But we don't know when that's potentially going to transition back to us.
No, I know it's an issue that's received a lot of discussion at the state level and at the legislative level, but we have not had any indication of what the ultimate result might be as far as when those schools might come back to the district or if they will.
Okay. Note to file. Let's ask.
And then on page 9, this begins the 31-page detailed line item budget, document number 9, where we have in columns C and D the current year approved positions and approved budget, amended budget. Columns E and F would reflect proposed position changes and budget changes, resulting in columns G and H, which would be the proposed number of positions and proposed budget for next year. And then column I, we include a remarks column where we try to provide additional explanatory information as it relates to the different types of positions, as well as some other explanation for some of these different accounts. Each of the accounts basically has the same object codes, which are reflected over in the far left column. The 0 object code would be salaries for certificated employees. The 1 object code would be salaries for clerical. The 2 object code would be salaries for support employees. Then we have, you can see the remainder, I won't necessarily read them, but you have these same object codes for each, pretty much for each of the accounts throughout this 31-page document.
Do you have any questions about that?
I have one question.
Okay,
Page
so I know we need to
23,
count.
Chris. At the bottom, under transportation, just because this is a hot topic.
Is this actually page 31?
Page 31, 23
Yeah.
of the 31
Okay.
document.
Sure.
Page 31. Contracted bus drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just speak to that? That's a pretty significant bump there.
Sure. What we've attempted to do is, as you know, our transportation department is in-house. All of our bus drivers are MNPS employees. What we try to do is, when we're not able to be able to provide enough substitutes, we have contracted for the substitute bus drivers when we have bus drivers that are out either on sick leave or extended medical leave. Many of these are retired MNPS bus drivers that they're not able to come back and work for us on a full-time basis for sure because they've retired, but they can go and work for the contractor and provide substitute drivers for to be able to fill when we have short-term vacancies or when we have absences on particular days. So this is not an attempt to contract the bus drivers or the bus driving service. This is an attempt to provide substitute drivers when we have drivers out, and we have a lot of drivers that are out on a daily basis. And so we're trying to make sure that we don't have bus routes that are where we have bus drivers having to double and triple back to be able to pick up students.
So why is this not cost neutral?
because we've not been able to provide the substitutes through the regular budget. We've just not been able to find individuals. It's difficult to find full-time bus drivers. We've not been able to find individuals to function as substitute drivers. And so we have included that to be able to increase our fill rate.
Okay, thank you.
Any other
I'm exhausted.
questions? I know, now we, you know, do you have any others, or can we move to capital if you've got?
I think I'm good to move to capital.
We move to
Yes,
capital,
we'll
because
move to
clearly,
Kind of running out of time here. so-
capital, we have,
Look at capital.
yeah.
Yes.
Look at capital.
I think we,
Thanks. Chris?
You got all that on one page?
No.
It's small font, Mr.
Okay,
Ripley.
that's very small font, I just want to make sure. You want to start?
Yeah, you go right ahead, let's just,
I actually worked on this a little bit over the weekend, so it's all kind of fresh in my
Yeah.
mind, so,
And what I'll do is just, of course, as you know, we have a 6-year, actually we have a 10-year master facility plan, capital improvement budget. And so what we've done here is to summarize the year one, what the board approved by the end of, it was close to the end of January, that time frame that's given, of what the school board would like to see as far as top priority goes, knowing that it's a large number and knowing that not everything here, of course, would be funded. But this, when we looked at the 6-year or 10-year capital improvement budget, we tried to break down the different projects as it relates to priority and also to try to balance those over the time period. And so these are the items that rose to the top as far as priorities. As you know, we've got a lot of old school buildings, many of which need renovations or need deferred maintenance. As you know, we don't. The school district does not participate in the 4% funding that for IT, for technology, or for deferred maintenance kinds of things. So we have to include that in our capital improvement budget request. And so I can go through these individual, or you can ask specific questions about them.
let's just do the specifics, I think, yeah. Go
Just the
ahead.
one thing I always like to point, I'm not sure everybody understands that, just as we try to explain, is that when we talk about the money coming from the state and the support, it all goes to the operating budget. That none of the funds for capital come from any source other than the general government.
Right.
And so when we, over the last, well, my experience now, almost 10 years, which is in and of itself sort of interesting. We especially in the last 5 or 6 years, we've done some significant capital funding for schools, probably average over $100 million a year in funding. And so when we talk about the school's budget, we also have to include that the city spends, next in fiscal 17, another $84 million on capital costs, which is the amortization of the prior spending of school facilities over the time. That's just the school numbers, $84 million a year. So these are significant numbers that with a lot of discussion about city's debt and concerns and all that, I think we have it managed really quite well. But I think it's just something to point out that those numbers are going to continue to increase with some of the stuff we've done. I think we need to talk about sort of priority a little bit because 278 is not going to be funded. I don't think that comes as a surprise, but I don't think we can fund, I don't see how we fund 278.
Because our average has been about,
It's been 100 to 140,
Right.
50, maybe got as much as 150 one year, but
Yeah.
so I don't think it's ever been above 150. I think that's the high side.
right.
And so you have to have a balance here of the new schools, the school facilities, and then, as you talked about, the 4%, which you don't have in the school budget, which the city has, there are some ongoing just maintenance needs, IT needs, things generally speaking, that we've funded those at a certain level. But I think we probably ought to just, those we can sort of generally talk about, I think, offline, but I think the ones that are important to talk about are the schools themselves and kind of what are the priorities on those schools. From my perspective, I know I feel like we need to fund the Hillsborough second phase. That's kind of a high priority since
We committed to
School
that.
Board Representative Pierce is back there.
Yes.
Since we did fund the first phase.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I think that's sort of a given. The second that we just talk about is the School of the Arts land. We have a contract, we're working to buy that land, so I assume that's a high priority from
It is.
the school board perspective. And then the land for the new Hillwood. That one's a little more problematic. I mean, it's going to cost a lot more than $4 million that's identified in this budget. It's probably at a minimum going to cost a little over $10 million. An offer's gone out. I don't know whether it'll be accepted. Right now we're a few million apart, and I don't know what the school board's perspective is on that in terms of are there other options if we can't get there, or have you talked about that internally?
Well, we've had a lot of discussion about Hillwood, as you know, and through that discussion, this was what the school board, the Capital Needs Committee, as well as the full school board voted as far as the top priority of location. And through our discussions with some of the agencies at Metro, we realized that this does not reflect the total amount of the 200+ acres that's located there. This would reflect the amount of acreage that the school district would use for the high school. And I think this was sort of a general understanding of what we would request at this point for that land. If we need to include the total amount in our capital improvement budget request, then that's something that we could amend and do. But realizing that some of that, through the discussion, the majority of that actually has been looking at potential park use and maybe some other use. And so we've reflected here what the estimate would be as it relates to the property for the high school itself. But as far as location goes, there have been a couple of different locations looked at, and this is what the board's Capital Needs Committee and the full school board voted as far as locating the Hillwood High School.
I mean, I think we'll see. I think maybe the best thing to do is just see what happens on the offer. And if the offer is rejected, then I think we need to probably go back to the school board and get some guidance as to what you want done, because we're sort of, I see Councilman Cooper here, who has raised some issues in the past about appraisals and things of that nature. And we are at the, we're at the max that we can offer under our policies and procedures. And so if that's rejected, then I think we're going to have some more input from the school board as to what they want to see us, what they want to do. I think it's important.
We understand that.
And then I guess then the other thing I would ask is there a way to sort of prioritize the other school construction projects? And again, if you can't do it right now, but if you can send it to us, or maybe you can do it right now. I know you have I do want to compliment, schools does have an excellent system on their capital their capital budgeting, and in terms of looking at buildings and scoring in terms of where they are, and that's a long history that we don't want to give Joe Edgens too much credit for that, but started then and has been followed by his successors. And I think, actually, I think it's far superior to city government. I've said that before, in terms of how we do our stuff, and I think it's something we can learn from. But if you could sort of, if you know it now, or sort of prioritize those, it would be helpful, I think.
Don't necessarily know it now, but we can do that, and I appreciate the kind words. We do have a fairly sophisticated, not fairly, we have a sophisticated process that we use to determine priorities. Top priority would be as it relates to utilization of buildings, where we have schools that are severely overcrowded, that have a number of portable classrooms. We either want to add additional classrooms, or if that school we consider it as large as it needs to be, then potentially build a new school to handle that growth. We also have a process where we look at 40+ different components of a building to assign a facility condition score. And the lower the condition score, the higher, of course, on our priority list. And so the lower the condition score and the higher the building utilization means that those particular projects would rise to the top of our priority list. And so we can go back and look at those and sort of prioritize what we have here based upon the parameters that we use. We actually have engaged MGT of America, who did the the performance audit on metro schools back in 2000 and 2001 to reevaluate all of our facilities in a project where we're looking at facility condition, we're looking at educational suitability of those facilities, we're looking at arts facilities, and making some recommendations throughout the spring and into the summer as it relates to our buildings. And so we'll be happy to go back and look at prioritizing some of these.
It looks like a lot of them are in the southeast part of the county, which is, again, where the growth is, correct?
A lot of the needs as it relates to capacity are in the south and southeast part of the county, and then we, as I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of old school buildings that are typically 50 and 60 years old. They need a lot of work, they need renovation. Unfortunately, many of these are in some of our highest poverty and highest EL areas within the county, and so we're trying, as funding is available, we're trying to bring those up to standards through a renovation project. And let me say also how much we appreciate the capital funding that we have received over the last several years.
And if you can do that also with the district-wide projects, so I think you do both. Since you've got them broken out, give us the prioritization. Any other questions about capital? All right. Well, thank you. Dr. Joseph, again, cannot say enough about how much we appreciate your leadership, your passion, the school board members who are here, Amy Frog, Will Pinkston, Mary Pierce, Anna Shepard, Jill Spearing, Thais Hunter. We thank all of you for all of your hard work and all the things that you do. Thanks to the council members who also joined us today, Councilmember Cooper, Councilmember Rosenberg, Councilmember Vercher, Councilmember Johnson. We appreciate that you all took the time and energy as well to be here. As I said at the beginning, education is the most important thing we do as a community to make sure that our children have the resources that they need to be successful in life. We do have lots of other things that we focus on as well, but making sure that we give you what you need is critical. And we hope that as we look at this, remembering that you get this lump sum from us and then you make the allocations appropriately, I know that you and I will continue our conversation about what that can look like from a prioritization perspective. So we appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.